I'm at a detox facility in rural Maine, where opiate and heroin addicts use weed to get clean. And the withdrawal symptoms for one of the patients here is getting really bad.
He's feeling rough. We are going to give him roughly 250 milligrams of THC cannabis oil.
Opioid addiction has reached epidemic proportions in the U.S. In 2014, over 28,000 Americans died from opioid overdoses, 4 times the death toll of HIV/AIDS that same year. The opioid epidemic has claimed victims across our society.
We now can say that Prince died as a result of an opioid overdose.
And reduced the life expectancy of an entire demographic group, working-class whites. The causes of the epidemic are well known and point to a heinous hand-in-glove relationship between big pharma and the medical establishment. Doctors, at the urging of pharmaceutical companies, overprescribed opiates for pain, leaving many patients addicted to their pills even after their symptoms subsided. Since 1998, American prescription drug abuse has risen by 400%. And today, millions of Americans who are merely seeking medical help are hooked on deadly opioids, with many turning to heroin to get their fix. But recent studies have found a surprising twist in this downward spiral. States with legal medical marijuana are seeing a reduction in opioid overdose deaths. I've come to Maine, a state firmly in the grips of the epidemic, to see if pot, which was once considered a gateway drug, could hold promise as a gateway to recovery. I've come to Harmony, a small town in rural Maine, where marijuana caregivers are encouraging prescription pill addicts to kick their habit by smoking pot.
Good morning. Glad to see you all coming out of your tents. Thank you. We have an epidemic in Maine. We can't have this anymore. We have to have a way to get people off from big pharmaceuticals. Cannabis. We have learned that cannabis can work as an exit strategy to get off from opiates and other addictions. We're going to be going down to the backfield, and we're asking for those who are looking for help and trying to get off opiates to come join us.
We're like a pebble of sand on a beach, the people that are here today. We're having overdose after overdose after overdose. This does not discriminate.
I ended up losing my home because when they wanted to cut my prescriptions and I didn't know where else to turn, I went to the streets.
I was on Oxycontin for 6 years. I was not functioning as the person that I wanted to be.
I was a black belt. I taught karate classes. I made great money as a marine mechanic. Putting a big motor in a boat, I blew my back out. And I went from oxycodone to Percocets. The more I took, the more aggressive I got. And it's not who I am. And going to the doctors and asking and begging for help. I'm a patient. I'm coming to you guys because I feel like I'm dying inside. And it's the pills. I know it's the pills, but I'm in so much pain. Something's gonna change.
How did you finally get off the opiates?
5 years into that, I was taking methadone tablets.
That's the traditional method of getting people off.
Suboxone and methadone.
It's Suboxone and methadone.
One of my doctors, in his wisdom, the methadone was making me so sick, all I could do was throw up. He said, well, your body's not used to it. Let's double the doses and give it a good shock treatment.
That makes sense.
That's the help that's offered in the state of Maine. And that some of this stuff is very powerful, especially the doses these people are doing.
2006, I had my son got in a methadone clinic. Been there 10 years. All they would do, raise. I went to 190. Not one time they asked me if I wanted to drop.
Yeah, you still sit with the problem after 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to change that.
Yep,
Yes, we are.
I'm done. I've been tapering, I'm down to 54.
We've been working with Bo for several months now, working with the cannabis oil to help him wean down, and now we're gonna make the final journey with Dennis at Genesis Farm. Dennis really works with the hardcore addicts coming down who need full potency.
The only way cannabis will kill you is if a ton of it falls on you. We're taking something non-lethal to beat pharmaceutical addictions.
And doing it.
Yep. Done. Taking my last dose. Journey starts here.
After 16 years of addiction, Bo has decided to check in at Genesis Farms, Dennis's unaccredited backwoods detox camp in rural Maine, where Bo will try to kick his opioid addiction with cannabis. I went to Bo's home, where he's packing and taking what will hopefully be his last dose of methadone. So what does this mean to you to be able to take that last methadone dose?
A lot, because I used to go every day to get the shit. Now it's in the past.
Tomorrow you're not gonna be able to have any methadone.
Gotta quit it sometime. Can't live on it.
How did you first get addicted to opiates?
I experimented with drugs. I was trying to escape from this everything. My parents went through a bad divorce. My dad left, and I got into his pain pills. Really get addicted till they prescribed them to me.
Why did you get prescribed?
I hurt my back.
You hurt your back?
Yep. I do have deteriorating discs, and that's when I started doing them every day, because wow, they didn't just kill my back pain that I hurt. It killed my head pain, it killed everything, made everything numb.
Why did you decide to quit the opiates and go to this rehab camp and use weed to get off of it?
I got a new baby, 3 years old now. My boy's 10. And I want to be able to be there for him. And methadone, I'm sick almost all the time. It kills me. My guts are always messed up. It's just I had enough of it. It's just handcuffs.
Have you gone cold turkey before?
It sucks.
Right.
I'm going to be miserable.
You're saying that with a smile, though.
Because I'm excited. I'm starting over a new chapter, like part 2 of Bo's life.
Thanks, man. So how you feeling?
Not bad. Ready. Excited.
Today, Bo's headed to Genesis Farm to try a radically experimental and potentially game-changing way to confront our country's opioid crisis with cannabis. There, he'll set a course to break his dependence on opioids, but not before overcoming the ravages of withdrawal. He's expected to suffer from diarrhea, nausea, and severe pain. To lessen those symptoms, the caregivers at Genesis Farm will dole out powerful dabs of shatter and wax and highly concentrated weed extract called Rick Simpson oil, or RSO.
Welcome. How are you? Welcome to Genesis Farm.
Thanks, man.
Hey, brother.
How you doing?
You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Hey, I'm gonna do a little intake with him.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a spot right over there you can set your tent up at.
Sure.
And we'll get with you in a little bit.
See you in a bit.
I need, first things first, I need to see your medical card and your ID. Cool. They match. How old are you now?
32.
You're the same age I was 10 years ago when I got clean. You're number 8 coming through Genesis Farm. And it's working for 5 of them. Awesome. So let's make it 6.
We'll make it 6.
Let's go upstairs and check out your stuff. I've been to prison. We hide a lot of stuff in a lot of places. One place I'm not gonna check on you, that's okay. I like you and all, but not that much. I'd rather you have bad breath than anything with alcohol in it. What's this?
Those are my old stomach pills, nausea, anti-nausea things.
You ain't gonna need those. Now, how many rehabs can you go to take a glass piece to?
Not very many.
This one you can.
Yes.
It's beautiful out here, huh?
Hey, check them out.
Yeah, man.
You try to sneak anything in?
No. Before we do this, a couple things you're gonna, the next couple days. Tomorrow, you're gonna feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get some shakes. We're gonna keep dabs on hand for you. That's concentrate. But you're not gonna feel total pain relief like you do from an opiate. When the methadone is inside your bones and it's trying to come out, I want you to feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you spent enough time dulling the pain with the bullshit pharmaceuticals, and I want you to feel the sickness. The diarrhea and the shits are gonna come on day 3, and I'm gonna laugh at him a little bit. That's my version of tough love. I'm gonna be here for him, I'm gonna laugh at him, but I'm gonna help him make through it. 3rd night, I know that RSO is gonna make you sleep through the worst part of it.
That's a big part of it, just
Big
sleeping.
part of it, sleep it. It's gonna be rough.
Oh, I know it is.
I'm here willing to fight with you.
Thank you.
Glenn and Catherine, everybody here that's helping you is willing to fight with you. Don't be scared. Throughout the next week is gonna be the hardest part physically. Gentlemen, how you feeling this morning?
Sore.
Sore?
Sick.
Good. You gotta feel it. We talked about this before, about dabbing. This is ash oil. You extract all the THC molecules off the bud itself. It's called dabs. Smoking one dab is like smoking 3/4 of a regular whole joint.
And that's what he needs right now?
Yeah. This is more to bring his head to a different place. Let's take the edge off now.
It feels like a recreational thing? Like, how is it medicinal?
In the situation he's in, you need something instant.
How'd that make you feel?
It's euphoria.
Relaxing your muscles at all?
A little bit. My back don't hurt as bad.
It's like a quick fix. It's a fix.
You're right. It gets him through until he gets the methadone out of his system. Baby dab?
Babies.
Go. Come on.
Yeah, that's quick. I sort of like immediately feel the rush of the THC kind of like washing over the brain, right?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Well, my like heart is racing. Kind of hard to sort of like keep it together after taking that tab.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Good?
Better.
Better.
Maybe I'll go put my tent back up. While I initially considered the work of Genesis Farm a novel approach to an intractable crisis, the higher I'm getting, the more it feels thrown together. We're miles away from a hospital, and caregivers are ceaselessly ripping dabs while their patient suffers through the misery of withdrawal. Is this suitable treatment? Or are these stoned caregivers just replacing one powerful high with another? Here at Opioid Detox Camp in rural Maine, extraordinary amounts of weed are being smoked by Bo, a 16-year addict, and his caregivers, who are shepherding him through withdrawal. I want to know how medically valid this treatment really is. So I'm speaking with ER physician Dr. James Lee, who taught at Harvard Medical School and has been on the front lines of treating Maine's opioid crisis for over a decade. I've just come from an untraditional detox facility. No doctors, lots of weed. What are the dangers of a situation like that?
What happens at withdrawal? You get nervous, you get agitated, you start to sweat. Then at some point, you have blackouts.
Wow.
These are people without much medical knowledge who are experimenting with untested doses that anecdotally might have worked for some people.
What is the traditional sort of accepted medical method of getting off of opiates and getting off of methadone?
The most important part is weaning over time. On top of that, you generally offer some pharmaceutical support, medications, the support group, and then you've got to change their environment. Traditional rehab is incredibly expensive, and most insurances don't cover it. Almost nobody who comes into the ER who is going through withdrawal gets the help that they need.
If you're an addict looking for help in Maine, options are limited. You can attend a private inpatient rehab facility, the gold standard of treatment, but this will cost upwards of $45,000 per stint, a prohibitive cost that pushes most addicts towards less effective, cash-strapped, state-run facilities. Since 2004, the number of addicts seeking treatment for opioid abuse in Maine has doubled to 4,800 people. But the number of spaces in state-run rehab facilities has remained the same at 200 beds for the entire state, servicing less than 0.5% of those seeking treatment at any given time. Which means instead of getting services like counseling to withstand withdrawal, addicts are directed to outpatient methadone clinics. But hit hard by budget cuts, clinic workers are now overwhelmed with 3 times the number of patients than state guidelines once mandated, meaning the only treatment plan to prevent relapse becomes simply more methadone. So instead of addicts being weaned off opioids over time, they spend a lifetime bound by a state-sponsored drug known amongst addicts as liquid handcuffs.
The idea that people are actually doing this on their own is really the only solution that is tenable in a state like this that's very, very poor.
Is it sort of deluded to think that cannabis, even at high dosages, could kind of help someone through symptoms of withdrawal?
It has been shown to help chronic pain. Cannabis helps people sleep. There's good data for that. It helps for nausea and vomiting, which are part of the withdrawal syndrome.
I mean, I guess given how like messed up it all seems, like why you would just go to the woods, take a bunch of weed, and get off the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
Like that kind of makes sense to me on like
It makes sense to me too. And I wish them well.
Given Maine's insufficient rehab system and the relative safety of ingesting cannabis versus long-term methadone use, the methods of Genesis Farm don't seem as half-baked as I'd thought. I went back and found Bo and caregiver Glenn making Rick Simpson oil, or RSO, a potent pot reduction. Even if former addicts like Glenn are on wild amounts of weed, they're surprisingly lucid and intentional in its use.
Right now, his body's in a lot of pain, uncontrollable spasms. It's going to help him settle down, and he'll be able to sleep. And that doesn't happen coming through conventional detox programs. He's going to be able to make this himself, and working with the plant itself, it will be therapeutic for him.
Your back all right?
Yeah, it's sore.
Yeah.
Sore? It's hurting.
Yeah.
The withdrawal effects are really starting to make all them aches and pains come back.
How often do you take this stuff?
I take it every day.
Okay.
In large doses.
What's a large dose?
I use between 4 to 8 ounces a week, depending on how bad a week I'm having. You all right?
Yeah, I'm not feeling good.
You feel like you're sick to your stomach, or?
Just really antsy.
Antsy?
Yeah, skin's crawling.
Yeah. This is going to be enough for Bo here for the next 24 to 48 hours.
This is the stuff that gets Bo to sleep?
Yes, exactly.
First course is burgers, second course is chicken.
Your gut's still knotted up?
Nothing.
24 hours, that's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You'll be on the other side of it, though, in no time.
As the night wears on, Bo's withdrawal is peaking.
How are you? He's not feeling too well. We're gonna get this 4 quarter-gram capsules to him. Put some RSO in one of the chocolates.
How much THC is in it?
That's about 250 milligrams.
That's a lot.
It's something to counteract years of all that poison.
The caregivers try to get him to sleep with an escalating amount of RSO.
Take these 3. This is covered in RSO, so it tastes a little rugged. Caramel. See you in the morning. The amount we just gave him is what I would usually give a cancer patient who's already built up to this point for 30 days. Some people say it's risky, but he ain't gonna overdose on it.
And even though the weed isn't putting him out completely, the personal attention he's getting seems to be helping him through the worst of it.
You actually have color again.
Thank you.
Despite eating more THC than anyone I've ever met, Bo had just a few hours of withdrawalless sleep last night. But he's not giving up and will stay at Genesis Farms for a few more days under Dennis, Glenn, and Catherine's care. I want to know what the next steps for Bo will be after purging the methadone from his system. So I'm meeting Jason, Genesis Farms patient number 7, who is now 3 weeks opioid-free.
I've been up here almost 3 weeks. It's amazing, dude. I was not convinced this was gonna work at all. And it did what methadone, Suboxone, Subutex, none of that shit could ever do. The RSOs and the cannabis oils, man, they're working for me.
Do you still want to do opiates?
Honestly, dude, when I do, I just do a dab. then I'm good.
You're good because it sort of takes the craving of getting up, or you're good because that's it?
I mean, it's working for me, man. Like I said, I never thought it would.
But it's only been 3 weeks, right? Like, you're still in danger of relapsing, right? I mean,
I'm in danger of relapsing every day, man. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I've relapsed my whole life.
Well, I think some people might be like, you know what? All you're doing is subbing the heroin and the scripts and the opiates for really high doses of weed now. Right. And that's not really getting clean. That's just subbing one drug for another.
I can't imagine a time in my life that I'm gonna come and put a pistol in your face and strip you and your kids and everything in the house for a dose of weed. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. Every day that I wake up and I'm not sticking that needle in me, it's a good day, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just up here learning how to grow this beautiful plant. It's just so great to be getting up and doing something, I mean, it's gonna end up helping somebody, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That's high all its own.
I wish you luck, man.
All right, thank you, brother.
These trees need some more work, though, don't they?
Yes, they do. A lot of work. A lot of work. It's all right, though. They'll make it. Both of us are gonna make it.
Science as we know it, like, hasn't deemed this an appropriate thing to do. The lifestyle of someone who's taking dabs all the time, taking RSO all the time, like, that doesn't occur to us writ large as something that's necessarily healthy. That looks like addiction too. But it helps them with the pain, it helps them with the cravings, it helps them orient their life around another ritual to something that feels a lot more holistic. The spirit of sort of individualism, of not relying on big pharma for your medication, it presents a new model of how to take care of each other. That's why what Dennis is doing, what Glenn and what Catherine are doing here to guys like Bo matters. In this time of experimentation, the ingenuity of people around the substance of pot is what will guide its future. And if one of the future uses of pot is to get people off of opiates, that is a massive cultural shift. Whether pot actually works as a gateway to recovery remains to be seen. Jason, patient number 7, relapsed weeks after we met him. But Bo, who hoped to get clean to be a better father, has been entirely opioid-free for 10 weeks.